All right, welcome back to Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Vinny,
I'm Dylan.
and today we're going to talk about all the news that happened with Robinhood this week and how I traded it and maybe made a little tiny profit.
Nice. If you guys like this entertaining stock market content, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. We're just two stupid guys kind of figuring everything out. So,
I'll get to it.
Two stupid guys trade stocks.
All right. So interesting. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm pretty sure this is Vlad, the CEO of Tenev of Robinhood, and this is Cathie Wood. Other than having the same hairdresser, they're now both Robinhood shareholders.
Same hairdresser.
Yeah, they have something new in common.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So pretty wild week. This is the daily chart here, of course, of Yahoo Finance, and I'm going to show you the line chart as well. We're going to go to Dylan's charts that are a little bit better in terms of the wild price action you saw this week. IPO less like a week ago, pretty flat. All of a sudden, things started accelerating. Had this massive kind of spike up here, and then it's kind of trended down since then. But we're going to take a look at it on Dylan's charting platform here.
So this is by the day. So these blue lines are different days, right? So this is August 4th. This is August 5th, 6th. Daily chart looks the same. It's not too interesting, right? Mm-hmm. But more importantly, within, what is this, 1 hour? Oh my goodness, that is so fast. You have a high of $85 and a low of $52. That is a $30 candle in 1 hour.
Yeah, I know, right? Fascinating stuff. The interesting thing too is that the daily volume there. I think it kind of met our rule a little bit, where all of a sudden you saw this massive surge in volume, and if you actually kind of follow any of these Wall Street Bets, kind of ticker trackers, Robinhood quickly became the most talked about ticker within Wall Street Bets, and that was what preempted this kind of massive move up here. All right.
Yeah, so that meets our criteria for that meme stock. This is 32 million shares in 1 hour.
Yeah, that's insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah. Jeez.
So, what kind of happened here in the beginning? So, right when Robinhood went IPO, they had an unusual IPO structure in that they sold a lot more shares to the public than is typical. But one of the trade-offs for that is that the insiders weren't locked up like they typically are, right? Typically, insiders can't sell for the first 3 months or so of a publicly traded stock. However, in Robinhood's case, insiders were able to sell 15% of their stock immediately, and they could sell another 15% after 3 months. Okay, according to the CNBC article here. Yeah. So this came out immediately, following the IPO. Vlad himself sold about $45 million worth of Robinhood stock, 1.25 million shares. And he actually wasn't the only one. I think in total it was like $125 or $128 million in Robinhood shares that were sold within the first couple of days of after the IPO.
I wonder if they waited till the 4th.
I don't know. I mean, that was definitely part of the downward pressure you saw in the initial few days of trading, and why Robinhood IPO was so flat. Then all of a sudden, you see this massive surge up here, 126% gain in 2 days, and as they became the most talked about stock on Reddit's Wall Street Bets forum. Wall Street Bets has been a lot in the news ever since the whole, GameStop and AMC kind of short squeeze. So people have actually created tracking software which tracks the Wall Street Bets forum and looks at ticker symbols and will chart them out over various time periods to see how often certain ticker symbols are being mentioned. And Robinhood became number one on that and shortly preempted this massive spike. Yeah. The other thing that's kind of interesting why it was able to spike up, like I said, insiders had sold already a good portion of their shares, that they were available to sell. But because it was a new, freshly minted stock, it's difficult to borrow in order to short sell. So short sales are difficult in the infancy of a company. That there is a certain percentage of short flow. I think it was around 5% last time I looked. But, it doesn't truly reflect what the thought process is behind these yet, because it hasn't had ability to be priced in accordingly.
Yeah, it's like Wild West territory, because it is very difficult to short after an IPO. Your broker has to have short shares available.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if they don't, they don't. It's too new.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty fascinating. Another kind of story that was part of all this, unfolding Robinhood saga this week was that Cathie Woods, the famed ARK investor, CEO here, opened a position in Robinhood. I forget exactly what the offering is worth. We'll see it on the next slide here. But it's number 27 in her portfolio. With about a $250 million position value there, about 1% of her portfolio.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, pretty sizable position. Interesting. Whatever you think of Cathie Woods, I mean, she's certainly someone that is willing to be aggressive and loves companies that are, kind of innovative in her terms. But which Robinhood is indeed that. I will give them that. Whether or not it's a good investment is a separate issue. But
they are unique in their own space. We'll go with that.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll do a separate deep dive video into like Robinhood's finances and kind of backstory and compare them to other kind of investing platforms and in terms of valuation. But it's just so much went on with them this week that I kind of want to do a little video about it and show you how I made a little bit of money on this without like being super risky. So Robinhood shares then dove 27% in a single day because they filed to sell. Early insiders filed to sell, I think it was 92 million shares of Robinhood stock. This wasn't a new additional share offering, but it was insiders that were pre-IPO investors that were filing to be able to sell their shares in the open market.
So how many shares?
92 million, I want to say.
It looks like, and their shares outstanding is 775 million.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a question if that's diluted or not, but it was a fair chunk. It's definitely going to be a fair amount of downward pressure there because of that. Now, like I said, we're going to do a deeper dive video, but I did read this report by this guy, David Trainer, who's basically arguing that Robinhood should have a $9 billion market cap, which is like a 75% downside potential compared to where they are. And certainly, like, there have been comments made by the SEC regarding, the vast majority of Robinhood's income is derived from payment for order flow. And, there's a question of whether or not payment for order flow allows the brokers to act in a fiduciary manner, meaning that they're looking out for their client's best interest. Right. I had never had a Robinhood account before we started our stimulus check challenge.
Right.
Series. I can link that above. But I definitely have noticed, compared to my Charles Schwab, which is my main account, that if I put in a limit order on Robinhood, I don't get any price improvement. Whatever my limit was is exactly what I'm going to get for it. No better. Whereas Charles Schwab, if I put in an order, I get price improvement most of the time. I would say at least 75% of the time I put in a limit order and I'm getting a little bit better price than that.
Right. Definitely makes a difference. If you have a giant account, probably shouldn't be on Robinhood.
Yeah.
Because you're going to, in my opinion.
Yeah, it makes sense. We'll talk more about that in our deeper dive video, but just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of the kind of downward pressure you may see with this stock now that it's had this massive surge up, and we'll see where it goes from here. But this is how I personally traded this week. As we saw that kind of spike in volume and takeoff, and you had a bit of inertia behind it. I started looking at the options. I've been playing lower spreads. I'm still learning spreads. We're going to do a separate video, actually recording right after this, about spreads. But I thought that inertia, that kind of spike up there, was going to carry it forward for at least a little bit. But I didn't want to put like a lot of money into it. This is my a small trading account anyways. So what I opened is what we call a bull put spread, meaning I sold a put here at the $60 strike price, collected $11 for that. But because I wanted to limit my risk, I also bought the $55 put, so $5 below, for $7.65, right? Giving me a net credit to my account of $335, right? And then later on the same day, this was over a period of a few hours, I closed that position out. I was now able to sell the $55 put for $6.08, and I was able to buy back that $60 put for $8.68. Meaning I then paid out $260 to buy back what I had sold that morning for $335, giving me a trade profit about $75. Now, this is what the profit and loss for that trade looks like. My maximum profit, had I held this all the way to expiration and it stood above $60 strike price, my short strike, I would have collected $335. Now, had it plummeted like it did, It's still right in the range here, but I would have collected lost at most $165. Yeah, kind of interesting. We're going to do a separate video because Dylan wants to know a little bit more about trading spreads, but this is an opportunity. Like I said, I put $165 up at risk, and I had a maximum 2-to-1 profit to kind of risk.
Yeah, and that's great. You always want that 2-to-1, because then even if you're right 50% of the time, you're going to break even if you're more than you pocket it. If anyone was confused by anything that Vinny just said, like me, he is going to do a whole video where he breaks down each step by step and how we use charts to utilize that.
Exactly, yeah. But this was just one example. Like I said, I traded this week, and I closed this at a 22% of maximum profit. So
that's great.
Scalp, nothing too crazy. Made $75. It's enough to take the wife out for a halfway decent dinner. Maybe Chili's with a margarita. Is that halfway decent? I don't know.
I'm cheap. I like Chick-fil-A. So
Chick-fil-A, man, that Chick-fil-A sauce and waffle fries.
Yeah, it's very good. It's stupid good.
If you could open a call spread on that, I would.
I would invest in the company if they were public immediately.
All right, guys. Let us know what you think about Robinhood. And if you look forward to us doing a deeper dive video into Robinhood valuation.
And their weird way on making money. Kind of inappropriate.
Yeah.
Kind of risque.
Yeah, it definitely, a little emotionally confused.
We'll go with that. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Later.